Big ass Tbull. Today we got to look at the Massachusetts B. This is another one of the current crop of Black Friday ships for 2021 here. We got Kong. That's an event commander from the Kong Godzilla event. There's the ship build. You can see it's mostly focused on secondaries between the commander and the ship build. We do have our artillery plotting room, which greatly enhances the main gun battery accuracy in the slot 4 ship mod. But other than that, I think it's pretty heavily focused on the secondaries. This particular game, we'll see the secondaries in action a little bit, but it's not going to be hugely focused on them. They are, I'll give you the rundown compared to the Bismarck. They're basically, they got less range, they got less overall firepower in terms of the number of guns, but the accuracy is much better, and especially when you fire up that the secondary mod there, that's when the shots really tighten up. So very accurate in terms of secondaries, and it's kind of a fun build. If you want to see more of a brawling type of a Massachusetts game, close quarters, a lot of secondaries going off, go back to my most recent live stream, at least if you're watching this video on the day or two after it's been published. Last stream we had, I think it was last Saturday, we got a 6-kill Kraken with like a lot of close quarters action. So if you're watching this in the future, you missed out on that stream, go ahead and consider subscribing. That way you'll stay up to date with all the current streams, videos. You know, we try and post flags and stuff like that, so a few different reasons to consider subscribing at least. Here we're going to be talking about like how do we play legendary tier, especially as a a tier 7 battleship. But legendary tier is very frustrating. You can see we got a typical deployment here, which is all the battleships. They'll either drop the anchor the minute the game starts, or they clump up. Black hole city out there. You can see in the southwest this game. Everybody's shivering and shaking and holding hands, just scared. You know, that's legendary tier is very lame because everybody's so terrified. It's just a game, guys. If you get sunk, you out your TV, move on to the next game, or go play a more fun tier. But don't be terrified. Okay, so we're not going to sit in the back. You guys know that. What we're going to do, though, on an open map like this here in Atlantic, for instance, we're going to try and pull forward to the island. Now you can see we've had to trade a lot of our ship's HP, 20,000 HP just to get into this position. And once again, that's a function of nobody else on our team can be shot because they're all the way in the further reaches of outer space. So we pull forward here. Now this hopefully will limit the enemy's ability to really hit us. Okay, there might be 1 or 2 ships that can hit us at this point in time. But most of them, they're going to be blocked. You can see red's mostly clumped up right in front of their base. Our team's mostly clumped up to the left of our base. So when you clump up like that, if one guy can't hit you, then almost nobody can hit you. That's kind of the advantage of playing in this sort of, I'm not going to call it a meta, but this current fashion that World of Warships high tiers are being played. So we're staying up here. We did take a torp strike from the Fletcher, I believe. And we're going to be plane spotted a lot of the time here. So we're just kind of holding onto this island. What are we doing? We're not, it looks like we're just sitting here. We're actually just kind of waiting for that heal to get a little bit closer because you can see we're actually lost over half of our health. And that's a big problem when we got a lot of ships here that can wreck us in 1 or 2 hits. So we do need to be playing a little bit carefully here. Unfortunately, we do take a fire there. And we got about 40 seconds left for any damage control. So the fire will almost burn out by the time we could even consider putting it out. We're going to begin backing up here a little bit and considering angling towards that smoke cloud. We don't want to follow up set of torps from that American destroyer to finish this off. I guess we don't angle towards them yet. That'll be here in a minute. But we pull back forward, just limit what kind of damage we can take. And it's kind of it looks like a slow start, not a very successful start. We've almost lost 2/3 of our ship's HP, not doing anywhere near that amount of damage. And sometimes, you get to this point in the game and you'll get finished off and it'll end up being a really bad game. Okay, but at least we're not sitting in the back, taking no damage, unable to fire, watching the world go by through the binoculars. Okay, so we're at least trying to play the game. You can see we get a little torqued off once in a while playing this tier because it's just stupid, basically. It really is. I don't know how they can fix it. I don't think they can fix it, but it really is stupid how this tier is played a lot of times. So we're just continuing to sit here waiting for the play to develop. Now we do have an Olden pushing in front of us. We also do have, you can see we're pinging them out of frustration, but we got a destroyer who's disengaging all the way from the east. And then we also have a Cleveland, or it's probably a Worcester all the way over there. Now it looks like he radared that destroyer briefly. And you can see we've had 9 secondary hits. Now those have all been against the destroyer, I believe. But we're having a little bit of trouble here because we are in a centralized position, which is strong. But the flip side of the centralized position is you got a lot of shots that can access your ship from different angles. Okay, so this is one of the reasons we need to be playing a little bit slow here. Lighting this play develop, hoping these guys move around a little bit so we can maybe get shots. But now we got Alaska pushing forward here. I think he's either trying to counter the Odin or perhaps he's trying to counter the ships to the east, whatever it is. Looks like he's shooting the Odin. We're trying to get some shots off here now. We know we're not going to be the central focus of his ship, at least while this Odin is active. But you can see Odin's quickly losing his health here. So we're angling away from him, expecting follow-up shots. The majority of the team can probably hit us at this point in time. But, you know, they're all focusing the Odin because he was, once again, the furthest far forward in terms of Blue's deployment. So now we're in a bit of a pickle here. We've used our last heal. That'll bring us right up to, you know, just shy of half of our HP here. And trying to get this Fletcher off here, trying to get some shots on the Alaska, getting some secondary hits here. Weathering some more damage, not good. You know, we've lost far more damage than we've dealt at this point in time in the game. But, you know, we're once again hoping that something will develop. Thinking about, okay, maybe we need to get behind these guys for a little while. Maybe let them take a shot or two. We'll see what happens. Alaska more or less beaches himself on the island. Secondary is going off. Now, the secondary guns usually are quite floaty, so you can often lob them either over islands that you're playing by or, more importantly, islands that your enemy might be trying to hide behind. So you can see we're getting a couple of hits here. Once again, not going to be a huge factor, but you can just start to imagine at least what the capabilities of those could be. Had he been, you know, sitting there for a couple minutes, remain spotting, our secondaries would have actually burned him a couple times and got a few more chunks of damage on him. So now we're unspotted, and they'd still have their destroyer running amok, but the destroyer was last seen by our Worcester / Cleveland, whatever that thing is, and the destroyer that we have on our team. So there he is on the map right there. If they can get him, and he's very low, I guess it's a Fletcher, that's going to be a problem because they're going to be down to, looks like, a couple cruisers and then a bunch of battleships. We're still going to have our destroyer, plus a few cruisers, plus the battleships. And now when this is the situation, assuming your destroyer doesn't get bored and kill himself, bold assumption oftentimes, but sometimes it actually pans out, then that destroyer, if it gets in position to spot, and it looks like it is right now, spotting from the east, looking at those ships shooting by the base, or the battleships you could probably just naturally see by the base. Now we're able to get some shots on these guys, and we're not spotted, and we can potentially deal damage without receiving damage in return. And whenever we're able to make our trades completely unbalanced to the point where they get 0 damage every time we deal whatever damage to them, X damage, that's a completely unbalanced trade, and that's how we can continue to be effective, even though we're basically a one-shot to most, if not every ship on the remaining team here. Check out the Iowa's angle on the map. No, you know, almost pointed all the way against us. It looks like 45 degrees on the game screen, but if you look on the map, you can see it's even steeper than that. But we aimed up a little bit, caught a lot of full pins in the superstructure, and lobbed one shell right through that the Citadel. Massive damage. Our first actual nice shot of the game here. We're calling the target. Don't want him to limp off. Don't want him to get a couple heals off and come back into the fight later when, you know, potentially to turn the tide. So we fire there, but the Yamato shot's already in the air. Great job. Takes him out, and we secure that kill. Now we're continuing to push forward. We have the Grosser Curve first, basically just slightly to the southwest of us, but all the way to the west, the one that's currently getting pinged. We got this Iowa here trying to get that broadside shot while he's there, but he's going to try and get behind the island before he can get there. And, of course, this Alaska directly in front of us. He's been pinned on that island for a while. So we kind of want to continue to move forward to put pressure on these guys. The Alaska, though, got to keep an eye on him because if he comes around, if he manages to catch this broadside, he can wreck us pretty quickly. Maybe 1, maybe 2 salvos. So we do need to be careful of him. And then the Grosser Curve, the Grober, we like to call it, over there. Now, as long as he's spotted and we can shoot him, we're going to want to lob some shots over him. But if we're detected like we are now, we're getting radared by the Alaska. He's probably more focused on the destroyer. Personally, But we are getting spotted, and the Grosser Kurfürst might be thinking about killing us. Because here we are, we're mostly broadside to him, and he's got big booming guns, and he wants to kill ships. We're a low health ship that he can get off the board very quickly. Hoping that radar runs out. Of course, I think it's about 30 seconds on that thing. And at this point in time, we've got to be considering, well, if this Grosser shoots a decent shot at us, we're probably going to die here. So we're spotted by him now. Doesn't matter about the radar at this point in time. Get the shot off inexplicably. We had slammed on the brakes to kind of dodge, and he shoots behind us, luckily. But we will get, decent little whack there. 5K, whatever it was. We'll get a follow-up shot. We're pulling forward here, though, trying to get behind this island, trying to drop spot. We still have the Alaska over yonder. He could potentially be thinking about proxy spotting us, depending on how close we get to him around this island. But protecting ourselves from this Kurfürst, the main priority. Almost takes us out there. Luckily, a few of the shots went a little wide. And before we do drop spot here, and before he's able to reload, we're going to be behind this fat, juicy part of the island. Knock a gun there, that's fine. But now we're kind of letting the situation reset once again. And you can see we've been playing, from early in the game where we were basically roughly a one-shot like we are now. Had maybe 20, 30,000 damage. Patience, deploying some patience and staying with it. Now we've, generated a lot more damage. In fact, we've done quite a bit more than our ship-based HP. So in terms of team HP, we're now a positive net contributor. And we're still going here. Yamato in front of us. Of course, normally we don't want to stack battleships, but in this case, there's really nothing we can do about it, and that's fine. We do have a Grosser Kurfürst, he's broadside, and lots of guys shooting at him. Looks like the cruiser, the destroyer might even be chiming in. Whack from the Yamato there, and we're just going to try and chime in with our own damage here, because you can see they're down to their final 2 ships, and it's looking like a pretty strong win. All the destroyer has to do, if things get hairy, is get on the base. Nice 30,000 damage shot there from him. Slam on the brakes, because we're thinking forward about 30 seconds into it, and we're going to see that the Kurfürst is going to be behind that island for the next salvo, and the Yamato and whatever else is going to kill him most likely before we get another shot. So since we're trying to get a little bit of damage here, I decide to slam on the brakes, hope the Massachusetts continues to go forward as he is here. He's got about 30, 35,000, whatever it is. We can shoot, rely on the quote-unquote auto-aim for a quick shot, and hope and pray that we get a good shot, or we just hold, because we saw a few shots, like the Yamato, for instance, just shot. So we're trying to line a little bit better of a shot. Looks like he either angled it just a little bit right at the end there, or we might have just missed. Either way, we might get, well, we're going to kill him, so I think we'll get a little bit more damage, but it's not going to be that much, okay, but, roughly 150,000 damage game. So I picked this game because it wasn't that flashy. It was kind of, blue collar in a lot of ways, but I thought, I constantly hear from you guys, and, I'm frustrated with the high tiers as well. I thought we could show a game where we're kind of having some success as the bottom tier ship in the legendary tier, especially as a battleship. So that's a look at the Massachusetts for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. We've got lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.